Hi friends, welcome back to the Crafty Budget. Today I will be going through my monthly bills and expenses for January. This is my first time doing this in this way, since I already have an agenda and I've been listing my expenses on my agenda. I thought it would be a good idea to just place them under my last sheet under notes. That way I can start tracking where my money is going and the balances for each type of bill or expense. So I have made a couple of mistakes and I'll review them with you as I go. But essentially I want to list the name of the envelope, which is assigned to a specific bill or expense. Then I was trying to put the balance on that envelope and then the expense so that I can subtract the expense from the balance. And then at the end, I should have the total amount, whether it be how much I owe back or how much is still left over in the envelope. So as you can see here, I've already started making notes on these two bills, but then I just realized that it was getting a little too confusing and too messy because I mixed them up. The ComEd is the electric bill and the gas bill is a whole different entity. So I'm just going through and erasing the little boo-boos I've made, and then I'll try to redo it again in a more accurate way. So here, as you can see, I went back and I said, okay, so I had $200 under gas, and I'm just gonna keep the name gas, and I'll add the amount I have, though I accidentally added the total expense for that bill versus the amount I had in my envelope. But as I continue, I'll make sure to not make that same mistake again. So for gas, I paid a total of $206 and I had $200 on my envelope, which now gives me a -$6. So I owe that envelope $6. In other words, I did pay the bill from my bank statement of showing $206, but I took out from the envelope the entirety of the balance, which was $200, and I owe myself $6 from that. So I'll make sure that for next month I pay myself back those $6 that I still have outstanding. Now for electric, I had $200 on my envelope, and the expense was $132. So if I subtract 100 from 200, I should have $68 back in the envelope. I realized at this point that I also needed change because I had only big bills. So I went ahead and swapped the $100 bill with some spare change I had in my cabinet here. So that way I have change and I can give the exact change back to the envelope. So again, the bill was less than $200 and I should give back the envelope $68. So that is $68, goes back to electric. So I should have a balance there for next month. Next, for water, so for the water bill, also known as the utility bill for the city of Chicago, which is where I live, I pay it every 2 months and sometimes every 3 months, depending on how their monthly billing system is for. Sometimes they bill every 2 months, every 3 months. I've heard of people that pay it every month, but my system doesn't allow me to pay it until the bill is set to be due. So for this time around, the total was higher than what I had budgeted for. Again, I had 200 in the envelope for budgeting, and the total was actually 258. And now I have to, for showing purposes, I had 200 minus 258. I owe myself $58 back to my bank statement, and I'll take care of that for next budgeting cycle. So again, 200 was deducted from that envelope. And the next envelope is subscriptions. And for subscriptions, I did have a subscription that was deducted from my account of $23. And so another little mistake that I just realized at that moment when I was doing my notes was that it was not that I had $200 for budgeting. I'm so sorry, guys. Just bear with me. I actually had $100. As you can see here, I had two $50 bills, which is equivalent to 100. And on my notes here, I had listed 200. So I did fix that, which allowed me to, again, deduct from my envelope the correct amount, which was $23. So 23 minus 1, I'm sorry, I deducted 23 from 100, which resulted a total of 77 left over for that envelope. So that will roll over to the next budgeting cycle, and so on and so forth. And I did want to make sure I gave the correct money to that envelope, so I recounted the balance, and yes, it was $77. Next, on my property tax envelope, I had no balance this month, so that stays the same, and I had a $300 budgeting balance for that envelope, and it stays the same again. So I am left with $300 for property tax. For my insurance envelope, I have a pending balance, but I think for now I'm just going to leave it as is because the bill is due in February 15th. So I'll take care of that for the February month. And the balance is of $280. Now for my emergency fund, I didn't have any emergencies, thankfully, so it stays the same, and that had a balance of $300. Now for my family envelope, I did have a couple of expenses. I purchased some clothing items for my children, and so I need to deduct $210 from the balance I had, which was a total of $360. And I've already made the notes on my sheet here, and I'm trying to work out the breakdown of the money. So I think it looks like this. So again, I spent $210 and I'm paying myself back $210, and I have a balance of $150 in that envelope. Next, in education, nothing was spent. For holiday or gifts, nothing was spent. For vacation, it stays the same, nothing was spent. For medical, I did have a medical physical in the month of January, and I had a total of 75, I believe. So let's count here: 40, 60, 70, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, so I had 75, and minus 70 for that physical, I have a remainder balance of $5. So I'll put the 5 back in medical and will pay myself back the $70. For eye and dental, I do have a purchase coming up, but I'll do it in February. Savings stays the same. Investing, nothing changes. For debt payoff, I did have a couple of credit cards that were paid from a different savings goal I had last year. But for now, everything is just going to stay the same, and I'll try to show you here. I calculate the total amount of breakdown I have just to make that a habit here. And as a total, I am going to pay myself back into the bank statement $850. And by that I calculate everything, I sum up everything, and I had a total spending amount of $850 for the month of January. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please, if you enjoyed or learned anything at all, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. Again, thank you so much for everything, and I'll see you in the next one.